you have this really famous public figure who is now issuing a groveling public apology and backtracks after, again, tweeting pro-trans propaganda, if you will. This scenario would have been unthinkable a year, certainly 2 years ago. Whether it's sincere or not, I think that's a different question, but nonetheless, she learned we are not living in 2020 anymore. Here's what I want to say about this, though. Now, I saw the response this weekend after she initially tweeted those things, and now I'm who CIF is pushing back against. That's who Representative Ro Khanna is pushing back against. That is who Governor Newsom is pushing back against. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with the sacrifices that those young girls have already made and will potentially make to compete and succeed at the highest level.
Can you talk to us about the...
It looks like Riley Gaines just dropped a nuclear truth bomb on Brittney Griner, and the entire WNBA establishment is feeling the aftershocks. After Griner's shady comments about Caitlin Clark were conveniently swept under the rug, the former Olympic swimmer stepped in and said what most people were already thinking. She didn't sugarcoat a thing, and now the league is in full damage control mode. Was Riley Gaines justified in calling out Brittney Griner and the WNBA's blatant double standards, or should she have kept out of basketball beef altogether? Honestly, no league seems more determined to self-destruct than the WNBA right now. Just a few weeks ago, footage began circulating that many fans believe shows Griner making some pretty wild remarks about Caitlin Clark after fouling out in a game against the Indiana Fever. While some defenders insisted Griner was actually reacting to the referee's call, the timing and her
from their previous position that they had taken on this. It wasn't an issue Kamala Harris really campaigned on when she was running for president, but they have not. They have doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on this. People like Governor Walz, Tampon Tim, mind you, who put tampons in the bathroom of fourth grade boys' elementary school classes. This is what the American people wholeheartedly, regardless of political affiliation, reject. So again, allow them to continue. I guess it is tragic. It has to come.
Body language painted a very different picture. Fox News aired a segment. I've never seen this lady a day in my life. Why'd y'all bring her on here? Even the USA basketball chair stepped in, suggesting it would be irresponsible to add Caitlin Clark to the women's Olympic team, all while Griner had already secured her spot. Given the amount of controversy she brings, hold on a second, Riley, the host interrupted. That's a big claim. What do you mean by controversy? Well, Riley responded, you can't ignore what happened overseas. She was jailed. Whether you like it or not, the controversy follows her. Let's be clear, the host pushed back. She was wrongfully detained. That's not fair. Riley, we're taking that part out. So just to recap, they tried to silence Riley Gaines for even bringing up Griner's arrest, claiming she was wrongfully detained, without letting Riley make her point. Seriously?
All dudes. I don't know if she would ever place in any medal ever again. And it works the same way in soccer. It works the same way in the WNBA. I'm sorry, ladies. You're very good at what you do against other women. Respect. Love you. Awesome. Especially the ones in the leotards. But if you start playing against dudes, you're going to get your ass kicked. And that's just the reality. You saw what happened.
Fox, what is this? Get this lady off the screen. Riley Gaines wasn't about to back down. While mainstream sports media started bending over backwards to twist the narrative, Gaines clapped back with a brutal reality check that left the whole league shook. What makes her voice so powerful here is that she's speaking from experience. She's lived through unfairness in sports, forced to compete against biological males in women's swimming, and actually had the guts to say something when others stayed quiet. She's been targeted by the same sports media now scrambling to defend Griner. On Thursday night, the Indiana Fever took on the Atlanta Dream, Clark versus Griner.
This was so great for Ari, and I'm so happy for her. I like, it would be great to have her as a backup point guard, but it just sounds like that's not, you know, what the front office is willing and can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough.
This moment happened in the fourth quarter, right after Griner fouled out, and Indiana's went on to win by 5. Roll the clip. Looks to me like Griner says trash and then throws in white girl for good measure. Just a reminder, this is the woman the Biden administration traded for the Russian merchant of death. It's wild how many WNBA players seem to have this deep-rooted hate for Caitlin Clark when she's clearly the best thing that's happened to their league. And it's not because she's white, it's because she's good, because she's great. Now flip the script. What if Caitlyn had said that about Griner? It would have been total chaos. Rightfully so, she'd be vilified by the media, dropped, or by sponsors, maybe even suspended by the league. But since it's Griner on tape and Clark on the receiving,
what she said to Riley Gaines, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost the race. She lost the race to a man whom you said glad that they don't play when you were doing it because they done took all your medals. Straight up sore losers, what she said. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or create a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. What does that mean, Simone? What in the does that mean?
and suddenly everyone wants to act like they can't really tell what was said. The double standard is so glaring it's hard to miss, even for casual fans. What makes Gaines' response so smart is how she's zoomed out. She's not just calling out Griner for one shady moment, she's spotlighting a much bigger problem inside the WNBA. This is a league that protects its favorite narratives at the expense of fairness and accountability. Want to settle this? Ask Griner directly, but guess what? No one has, except Outkick. It's been more than 2 weeks, and still zero questions from the press. Instead, the league decided to spend time investigating a completely fabricated racial incident Angel Reese alleged about Fever fans. And by fabricated, we mean they found no evidence to back it up. So what did Outkick do? They requested media credentials to attend the Atlanta Dream's June 6th game, Griner's team, planning to ask her point blank about the video. And surprise, surprise, they were denied. Suddenly, the league claims there's very limited media space. Come on, they're just dodging uncomfortable questions, but Outkick's not backing off. They're going to keep digging and asking the questions that everyone else is too scared to pose. And if you call yourself a sports journalist, whether you're with ESPN,
their state's attorney general and the high school sports governing body that has allowed this to happen because of their discriminatory policies that exclude women from the women's category. Cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
or any other outlet, and you've got access to these players, but you're not asking the real questions, then you're not a journalist, at least not a real one. When Outkick tried to hold Griner accountable, the WNBA blocked them. That's when Riley Gaines came in swinging. She called out the fact that no other outlet was willing to confront Griner directly. Everyone else was either deflecting, speculating, or straight up making excuses, and the league actively preventing access. That's not just embarrassing, it's a total credibility crisis for the WNBA. This is supposed to be a professional league that depends on fans and press. Yet when reporters try to do their jobs, they're shown the door. Gaines nailed the hypocrisy. The WNBA will launch full-scale investigations into fake accusations made against Caitlin Clark's fans, but won't lift a finger when real video footage of a star player saying something shady goes viral. That's not just double standards, it's self-sabotage. She told Fox News, "I've never seen an organization more dedicated to imploding from within than the WNBA." And she meant it. Then she explained why it's so dangerous. This league keeps digging its own grave by refusing to treat everyone equally. Meanwhile, at another press event, ESPN's Bill Rhoden tried to throw Griner a softball. Brittney, you've always stood for access. I hate to put more on your plate, but with states pushing anti-trans legislation, where does that rank on your radar? Griner's answer? It's high up. Everyone deserves the right to play, to feel safe, to sit here and not feel like a target. Honestly, it's criminal to separate someone for any reason. I'll be speaking out against those laws for sure. The timing of Gaines' takedown couldn't have been sharper. Just as the WNBA was wasting resources on fake fan controversies, they ignored actual on-camera behavior from one of their biggest stars. To make things worse, ESPN's J.A. Adande reportedly tried to claim that Griner didn't say what everyone clearly saw her say, that it was something totally different. But Gaines hit back hard. Watch the clip and judge for yourself. That's how you fight gaslighting. You don't tell people what to think. You show them the evidence and let them come to their own conclusions. What's wild is how easy it would be for the WNBA to handle all this the right way. All they need to do is hold everyone to the same standard. If they're going to look into fan behavior based on rumors, they should also investigate actual documented actions by players. If they're opening media access for select narratives, they should do the same for any legitimate journalistic investigation. But instead of sticking to that simple, fair method, they've chosen to put their hypocrisy on full display. And Riley Gaines, she just hit the spotlight and made sure the whole world saw it. A lot of people are buzzing about the Olympics right now, but not for the reasons you'd expect. So let me shine a light on a story that's flying under most people's radar. By now, most of you know who Riley Gaines is and who Brittney Griner is. Riley didn't hold back. She went after Griner for kneeling during the national anthem. You don't have to sing it, fine, but show some respect to the country that pulled you out of a Russian prison camp. Let's not forget, Griner was 32 when she was arrested in Moscow back on February 17th. They claim she brought in a vape cart with cannabis oil, illegal under Russian law. She ended up getting sentenced to 9 years in a labor camp. It was clearly political. Russia had just invaded Ukraine and tensions were high, but America still fought tooth and nail to bring her home, arranging a direct prisoner swap. And who did we trade for her? Victor Bout, one of the most notorious arms dealers in history. So just to recap, you break another country's law, get arrested, the US government moves mountains to rescue you, and then you come home and kneel during the anthem. That's the larger context that makes Riley Gaines' criticism even more powerful. Caitlin Clark is the best thing that's happened to the WNBA in decades. She's brought in millions of new fans, packed arenas from coast to coast, and generated more positive attention for women's hoops than anyone in history. But instead of shielding and uplifting their breakout star, the league seems more focused on coddling players bitter about her rise. They're happy to dig into made-up controversies that might tarnish Clark, while ignoring very real incidents that could reflect poorly on others. That's the exact backwards logic Riley Gaines is. Calling out? She's highlighting how the WNBA is sabotaging itself from the inside, acting directly against its own best interests. They've got a once-in-a-generation talent who could elevate the entire league, and yet they're prioritizing the insecurities of those who can't handle her success. Gaines gets something the WNBA clearly doesn't. Fans don't stick around for long when things feel blatantly unfair. Caitlin brought in a fresh wave of passionate viewers, but they're not going to stay loyal if the league treats her like a punching bag. And Gaines, her background gives her an edge. She's seen firsthand how sports institutions will sell out their own athletes to appease political narratives or chase the right optics. Now everyone knows what happened. The WNBA denied access to reporters who were asking real questions about a serious incident involving one of their own players. But maybe the most brutal part of Gaines' takedown is how she described the WNBA, an organization determined to self-destruct. That's not just throwing shade, it's an accurate read of exactly what's going down. They've got a golden ticket in Caitlin Clark, yet somehow they're wasting it by picking petty battles, pushing obvious favoritism, and acting like it's all no big deal. What makes Riley's message hit harder is that she connects the dots. She's not just reacting to one headline or one denied press pass. She's pulling back the curtain on a much bigger issue with how the W operates. The fact that she even felt the need to speak out about women's basketball should tell you how blatant things have gotten. She's not part of this world. She's not angling for a stake in the league. She's a swimmer who's become a fierce voice for fairness in sports. Period. But when she sees the WNBA pulling the same stunts she's battled in her own sport, she's not going to sit back quietly. And thank God for that, because the mainstream sports media clearly wasn't about to step up. The footage of Griner's comments is out there for everyone to see. But the WNBA's reaction to that footage, that's where the real exposure happens. They could have been transparent. They could have handled it responsibly. Instead, they closed ranks, buried their heads, and protected a narrative that doesn't even hold up. Riley Gaines blasted that cover up wide open. Now the whole sports world is watching to see what the WNBA does next. They can either take the criticism seriously and start applying consistent rules across the board, or they can double down on the double standards and prove Gaines right in the worst way, based on how they've acted so far. Smart Money says they'll pick the second option, but at least now, because of Riley, no one can pretend they didn't know. What's really telling in this entire saga is how badly the league has misread the moment. Instead of embracing the new momentum Caitlin Clark has created, they're too busy defending players who seem openly hostile to her success. Clark's only in her second pro season, and she's already reshaped the women's basketball landscape. But some folks inside the WNBA don't seem to like that shift, and the league's leadership seems more concerned with appeasing them than celebrating her. That's the kind of dysfunction Riley Gaines has gotten scarily good at spotting. She's watched how institutions get so caught up in ideology that they forget their actual purpose. In the WNBA's case, that purpose should be simple: grow the game and support women athletes. But when they chase down fake scandals, block honest media, and ignore bad behavior from their own players, they're failing that mission hard. The power of Gaines' involvement is that she's forced the contradictions into plain sight. The WNBA can't pretend anymore that their selective enforcement and clear bias are anything other than what they really are: a betrayal of everything they claim to stand for. Now they've got a choice to make. They can admit the problem and fix it, or keep racing down the path of implosion that Gaines just mapped out. Judging by how they've handled it so far, it's obvious which route they're taking. But thanks to Riley Gaines, they'll be doing it under a spotlight. The former Olympic swimmer made sure that the WNBA's hypocrisy isn't just exposed, it's undeniable. She gave the league the wake-up call it desperately needed, even if they're too stubborn to hear it. Because this story, it goes way beyond basketball. It's a case study in how institutions lose themselves by chasing the wrong priorities. The WNBA has a once-in-a-generation shot at greatness with Caitlin Clark, and they're flushing it to keep certain people happy. Gaines has seen that story play out before. She's not about to watch it happen again without speaking up. Her bravery in calling out this madness is exactly what the moment demanded. And her voice carries weight because she's lived this fight. The fact that the WNBA tried to shut down questions about Griner only makes Gaines' critique more devastating. When an organization starts silencing inquiries and dodging accountability, it's usually because they know they can't justify what they're doing, and Gaines forced them to confront that truth. Their response? It only confirmed everything she said. The WNBA really does look like it's bent on tearing itself apart. And now, thanks to Riley Gaines, the whole world is watching it unfold live. She dropped the reality check the league didn't want, but sorely needed. Her fearless takedown of Brittney Griner and the WNBA's glaring double standards cracked the silence that had been hovering over this whole situation. So what's your take on all this? Drop a comment, smash that like button, and subscribe for more unapologetic truth bombs.